Hey guys, today we're going to install Rundeck, and we're going to install it on Ubuntu server. So I've actually I've just spun up a new VM here. I just cloned a brand new VM. Minimize that over there. So I've got myself logged into it here. I just named it test1. That's just the default host name. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in on this a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So hopefully the text is big enough for this video. Hopefully everything will just display on the screen nicely. Anyways, so let's see here. Let's minimize this, get that out of the way. And I'm logged into another host over here. So yeah, just make that nice. I'm gonna actually copy over the package from here. So there are different ways you could do this. You could install a package, an RPM or on Red Hat or a deb file on Debian, or on Ubuntu, and you can also just use the war file and just execute it with Java, and then you'd have to set up like your own you start and stop jobs and get it worked into systemd, or if that's how you prefer to do things, or however you want to do it. But any case, so but today I'm going to show you how to do it with the package, with the Debian/Ubuntu package. And I've already downloaded that from, I'm not going to show you how to download it off their site. You got to like register, and these days apparently you have to register for it and download it from Rundeck, but it's still free. I mean, anyways, I'm gonna show you how you can install at least the community edition, and I believe you can get a trial of their enterprise edition, but I haven't messed around with that too much. So in any case, let's just first step. So this is test1 is the host that we're going to actually install it onto, and so that has an IP address of that's right here. I don't actually have it in DNS yet. So the IP is 210, 192.168.3.210. Now there's this other host I'm logged into. So I'm doing this from my MacBook Pro, but I actually downloaded the files while I was on my Linux desktop. So I SSH'd over to that, and I'm going to copy them from the download directory on my Linux desktop. And I have some notes over here of what I did the last time I just installed this. And I think the next step after this is going to be to use Ansible to deploy Rundeck really quickly. Now I haven't done that yet, but so now I'm just showing you how to manually install it using the package. Next step is to show you how to do that using Ansible, but not in this video, not today. It's another video for another day. You might want to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon and stay tuned for that. But in any case, let's just jump right into it, I guess. So one of the first things you're gonna want to do, there's a prerequisite before you can install Rundeck. You're going to need the right Java version, and they recommend OpenJDK 11. So you just need the JRE. And before you do that, you're going to want to do a sudo apt update. So jump over here on our Rundeck server, sudo apt update, and there we go. This is just updating all the information we have about the current Ubuntu repos. Give us all the latest info. Make sure when it tries to pull down dependencies or whatever else, there aren't any issues. It's just good practice to do that before you install any packages. Now, next step, we're going to actually install OpenJDK. I'm just going to copy it from my document that I'm looking at over here and paste it in here. And there we go. Hit Y. And it's moving right along here. So it's taking a little while. I cut away for a second there. But yeah, it's moving along. It does take a little bit. It's not too bad. Looks like 97%. We're almost there. And this is just the prerequisite, just OpenJDK. And there we go. So we've got that installed. So next step, I'm going to SCP over the newer version of Rundeck that I have installed. So I'm going to first paste this SCP command in here, but not the whole command. So I'm going to jump over to this terminal right here on ZippyZap. So that's my desktop, my Linux desktop. So I have it in the downloads folder. and the name of the package is, Rundeck, and there's a version .deb. So that's a deb file. That's a Debian / Ubuntu package. Anything based on Debian you can install it on. So we're going to SCP that over. We're going to SCP it over to our Rundeck machine. So remember our IP. I'm just going to copy it from here. 192.168.3.210. All right, copy that guy and paste it over in this terminal over here. Colon, and I believe I'm just going to look at my notes, even though I can decide where to put it myself. I'll just throw it in my home directory. Home user 1. All right, SCP this over. Yes, I want to trust the fingerprint. So now it's copying over. That copied on the local network, so it's really fast. So we're done. We've SCP'd that over. We no longer need this terminal. So let's just jump over here and look at this. Maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. Let's see here. So we're in home user 1. And the only file in here is that Debian file. So it's that DEB package. So we're going to install that. So sudo -dpkg-I, and just tab out that file and install it. We're just going to let it, do its thing. Now, I did run into some issues last time I installed Rundeck, which were kind of interesting. So I'm going to show you that also. And there's a quick fix for it. Apparently, there's some bug that's been around for a long time, and it's kind of mind-boggling that they haven't fixed it yet. But we'll get to that. So, in older versions of Rundeck didn't have this issue. So, in any case, and maybe it's just a default configuration issue. But let's see, you can do. All right, so we ran it with dpackage. So we're just gonna check the status, the service status. So sudo sudo service rundeck d status. So this is checking. It's a systemd. It's a systemd service, and we can just query the status like this, and it tells us that it's inactive or dead. Okay, so I was actually expecting it to be up and running. I'm going to go right ahead and start it right up. So there we go. That should be running. So I'm going to check the status again, and there we go. It's up and running. So loaded, we see it's loaded. It's active running right here. And what we're going to want to do, we're also going to want to enable that. So starting it was not enough. I want it to come up anytime this system comes up. So I'm going to say enable. Yeah, so I probably shouldn't be using the service command. I should be using the systemctl command. And there we go. So it's enabling it, so it'll start up every time we boot the system. There we go. Got that done. Now you could also use systemctl to stop and start it. And it does take a little bit. I kind of feel like it should start faster than that. So you can stop and start it like that also, or you could use the service command. Yeah, service command works just fine, and it's the same syntax that you would have used pre-systemd. So anyways, it should be, the service is up and running. Now whether or not Rundeck is fully loaded or not is another story. Probably should be by this point though. So yeah, worth mentioning, we might want to, so we can stop and start it and stuff. We might want to look at the, we might want to tail the logs. So if you want to just see what's going on with it, paste this in here. So tail, and follow the last 1,000 lines, var log, Rundeck service log. So here we can see everything that's going, and it says, finished Finish configuring Spring Security Core. I don't know, that's probably the last thing it needs to do. May as well just leave that running in the background for now, just out of curiosity. Now, if it's on the local host, you actually probably won't have this issue. The issue that I'm going to show you coming up won't be an issue if you're running it from the same host that you are running it. If you're running it on your current local host, it'll probably be fine. I'll show you why that issue is. But we're running it on a VM that's separate from the host that we're running on right now. So we're going to need our IP address. So see, rather than scroll up there, I still have this guy open here. I'm just going to go right ahead, copy this IP, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. Okay, so you know what? I think Rundeck I couldn't verify this because I didn't load it quickly enough, but yeah, looks like, see in the logs here, it looks like Rundeck finished startup in 3285 milliseconds. Started application, so in Grail's application is running at localhost 4440 in environment production. Okay, that's fine. So that's how you know it's actually up and running. You can paste this in here. Paste the IP in. It's not at localhost unless you're actually running your browser on the server, which we're not doing. I mean, you might do that on a dev system if you have a Linux dev system. I'm not installing it on my Linux desktop. I'm not installing it on my Mac. I'm installing it on a Linux server that's remote. So anyways, put in the IP address, and the port is going to be 4440. Hit enter. And it's going to bring you to a login page. So here we go. Here's our login page. Default passwords, admin, as it says. Yeah, I put that in my notes. So admin. All right, log in here. And we can see down here in the logs. See, we're still tailing the log while we're logging in. And it says, it authenticated successfully. It looks like it's okay and everything, but somehow it's just hanging here, right? So something's not right. Now, eventually this is going to fail. And the reason it is because it tries to redirect you to the wrong page. So it tries to redirect you to localhost. So after login, it's supposed to redirect you to a page called menu home. So notice up here in the bar, it first redirects you to user login. Next, it's supposed to eventually direct you to menu home, but it doesn't direct you to the same IP address you're accessing it on. It redirects you to localhost menu home, which works if you're running it on a local host, but if you're running it on a separate machine, you're going to have to configure your host name or your IP address. If you have DNS set up, ideally you would put your host name in there. So it just requires a bit more configuration to actually work. There are a bunch of bug reports and stuff on this. Version 3.0.8 was apparently working, and 3.0.13 was reported broken, and now we're installing 3.4.3 and it's still broken. I would consider this a bug and something broken, but in any case, or maybe it's just a bad default. It's debatable, right? But I'll show you how you can fix it. So you log it in. Let me just zoom in on this side over on this little document that I'm looking at over here. So you'll notice that you see these are like the versions and stuff. So it's supposed to bring you to user login. That's where you log in. Then it redirects you to menu home. Notice the authentication worked, but it's still just hanging here, right? Now it's actually trying to reach localhost menu home. We want the IP address menu home. So we could say, if you go there and try to hit enter to load the page again, notice it redirects us to localhost, and it didn't even go to menu home. So that's kind of a problem. So yeah, can we even, yeah, that's kind of messed up. Do I still have this in my buffer? Yes, I do. All right. 440, and we want to be on menu home. So we have to manually type in menu home. And that should load. It should. And there we go. We are logged into Rundeck. Now that would be a huge pain to have to do that every time you log in. So, but here we are logged into Rundeck. Now, I guess they want to give us free stickers. Anyways, you can create a new project, a new default project. It doesn't matter. I'm going to wipe this instance of Rundeck anyways. And this is running a little slow. All right, test one, or test whatever. Yeah, just create something to look at. I'm not going to demo this a lot. Yeah, it's telling us we can add, did not include a valid token. You can, all right, whatever. All right, so it shows we have one project and here it's getting messed up again. Oh, look at that. It's going to localhost. Yeah, so this is basically not usable unless we paste the IP in here every single time. So yeah, last time I solved this problem, I solved it before going this far with Rundeck, but at least you can kind of see the GUI. Yeah, so this is messed up and broken. Now there's a fix to this. Now we're going to stop tailing the logs. Notice there's no errors in the logs or anything. Just some debug info saying that authentication was successful, right? So we are going to, we're going to look inside the Etsy Rundeck framework properties. So sudo vi to make sure we have the right permissions. You don't have to use vi. You could use nano if you prefer it. If you don't know how to use vi, I prefer vi myself. Anyways, let's sudo vi this. So we're in this, and notice how the framework server name is set to localhost, and you know the host name's localhost, this URL localhost. That's what's causing a problem. So it just anytime it redirects you or goes anywhere, localhost. So Rundeck server connection info. You'd think it would just refer to itself or whatever. You would think in code it would refer to whatever system it's running on, and it would just listen on whatever. I mean, it's listening on the IP, right? We can connect to it over the network. We wouldn't be able to otherwise. So it's listening on the IP. You would think it would by default just refer to whatever it's listening on. But I mean, maybe it's a little more complicated than that. But anyways, it's kind of messed up. So these lines, at least these 3 lines, need to be changed. So we're going to go in here and just edit these real quick. So paste this in here. Whoops. Okay, so we need our IP address. I have it saved over here. Copy this, jump back over here. Let's see if I can undo this. There we go. Paste it in. Paste this in. This is almost enough to fix it. Paste it in here. Right quit to save it. Now I had one more file to edit. Oh yeah, so no, I think that's, oh no, there is one more. So yeah, you change it from this specifying localhost to specifying the IPs. And this is the IP of the last VM that I tested this on. So the IP here is changed. That's why I grab it from the other window. But we also have to edit your Etsy Rundeck config properties. Now I'm gonna try to put all of this information on a web page. I'm gonna put this document you see on the right side here. I already have a page on Rundeck. Now I'm gonna create a separate page on how to install Rundeck and issues I found, and I'm gonna put this on that page. Now if you check the link in the description of the video, all this text you see here, I'm gonna have this pasted in a separate document so you can take a look at that. So you can copy and paste this stuff yourself and not have to, pause the video and look for it. So anyways, I should have that, published by the time I publish this video. So we're going to edit Etsy Rundeck config properties. Yeah. Anyway, so paste this in. Oops. Edit this file, and we've got, what do you have? A couple Grails URLs. that refer to, or one Grails URL that refers to localhost. So copy our IP again, and that's kind of messy referring to an IP. If we were setting up a real server, we wouldn't use the IP address. We would want to make sure this is set up in DNS, and we'd use the host name. For now, we're just using an IP. This is temporary. I'm going to tear this down when I'm done with it, probably. And I'm going to set this up in Ansible, so I can just spin this up, do all the installation and configuration with one Ansible playbook, just a single command, and I just deploy the whole thing. So that's eventually what we want. Anyway, so we fixed that, and let's see. So sudo vi. This is it. So we can just stop it. I'm going to use the service command anyways because it's right here, and I can copy paste it. So we're going to stop the service. And it's taking a little bit. And we're going to start it back up again. All right, so I'm going to tail the log here. Tells me the active profile, so it says it's shut down, and it tells me the profile when it's starting up, and it's going to take a little bit. Finishing configuration security core. So let's try to load up. You know what? I'm going to copy this, just the IP in the port, and open a new window to try to load this again. So load this up. The site can't be reached because it's not completely up and running yet. So I guess we have nothing to do but wait until it is. So from the time it mentioned the security core last time, it took a little. All right, so there we go. Rundeck startup finished. Grails application running. Yeah, so don't assume that it's broken right away. Like don't assume something else is wrong. Could just be slow starting up. All right, so now we can load. We can connect to the host on this IP, on this port, and there we go. So default password, admin. Yeah, the password, username and password admin were found in data breaches. That's good to know. Anyways, there we go. We notice once we log in, it just logs us in without redirecting to the wrong place. No hanging. Basically, kind of just works. There's our one project. We can go to our test one project. And here we are inside the project. I'd actually kind of be curious if you can create a new project quickly. Dashboard. So let's create a new project like this. All right, project name, test2, to be creative with our names, test2, blah, 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 create. See if this runs a little bit faster, and it does. All right, so we could add node sources and do all kinds of other stuff. So we're not gonna do that now. But anyways, yeah, this is our dashboard for test2. It's our test2 project, all jobs and stuff. We're going to go over running commands and setting up nodes and jobs in a future video. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. This is all I really wanted to cover for today, is just getting Rundeck up and running and started. Just to give you a quick idea of what it looks like when it is running. But other than that, that's all I really wanted to cover for today. And I'm going to go over like how to do other things in a future video. So yeah, I think that's about it for today. I don't know if there's anything I should poke around and look at in here besides this. I mean, you can look at job until I actually create jobs and do other stuff. That's about. There's not a whole lot that's that exciting in here. I mean, you can jobs. You can specify click commands and scripts, what nodes you want to run on, all that useful stuff. And that's all fine and great, and that's where it actually starts to get interesting. So this is the boring setup video that hopefully helps you out if you don't know how to set it up or you want to see what it's like. Or maybe if you run into an issue like the one that I ran into. Otherwise, that's all I really wanted to cover for this video. Upcoming videos, we're going to cover things like, adding nodes, setting it, all that other stuff, right? But that's basically it for today. Hopefully you found this useful or at least interesting. Hopefully this helps someone out. So, if you want to see more things like this, most of my videos are probably, some are more interesting, some are less. But you might want to hit the subscribe button. Also hit the little bell icon so you get an alert when we come out with new videos. Or at the very least, you probably want to subscribe to see more of this type of stuff in your feed. We do a lot of other tech-related videos, everything, coding, coding, development, servers, desktops, hardware, software, electronics, robots, single-board computers, Raspberry Pis, a ton of interesting tech stuff. So you might want to stay tuned for that stuff. You might want to give us a thumbs up, but what you really want to do is leave a comment down below. We want to know what you think. If you know something I don't know, let me know. Any comments, questions, criticisms, I want to know. So, yeah, just leave a comment. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time.